Hello, 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 and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You, time for you, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I'm a midlife renewal coach supporting women around the globe to lean in and realize the importance of you. The goal of this channel is to provide you, the viewer, with some takeaways that is going to help you shift, change, reevaluate, and or become way more aware of what is possible for you. We have a variety of incredible guests, and today is no exception. They share life experiences that have helped them become the incredible human beings that they are today. Every one of us, sometime in our lives, has had that infamous free time frequently. Hands up if we feel guilty, embarrassed and or wrong for taking out time for ourselves. Well, we are absolutely here to change that, to support you, to show what is possible for you when you take that time for you, by you, because of you. And today I am beyond excited and honored to introduce to you someone truly remarkable, a healer, guide, and advocate for emotional well-being. Kristy Marie Campbell. Kristy is not just a certified emotion code practitioner. She is on a mission to empower individuals to release the emotional baggage holding them back and help each client experience a newfound sense of freedom. With a background in computer science and a lengthy career in the software industry, Kristy's journey took a very unexpected turn when she was divinely led to the emotion code a couple of years ago. This transformative method has become her trust walk, challenging her analytical mind to embrace the profound world of energy healing. As she often says, the proof is in the pudding, and the positive results her clients continue to experience are a testament to the efficacy of this healing modality. Kristy really brings a unique blend of analytical thinking and empathetic healing to her practice. With 1 year of official certification and 2 years of informal practice, she's been steadily growing her business while impacting the lives of dozens of or more of her clients. Her work goes beyond the conventional, offering substantial relief from physical symptoms such as lower back pain, hip stiffness, tooth pain, and vertigo. But that's not all. Kristy's expertise extends to reducing anxiety, liberating individuals from long-standing grudges, and improving sleep. She creates an environment that fosters openness to new experiences, helping clients like one who felt ready to pursue a romantic partnership after 3 years of being on her own. In this episode, we're going to dive deep into Kristy's journey, exploring an intersection of technology and healing. And if you've ever wondered about the incredible potential of healing energy, you're in for an enlightening experience. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I am honored to welcome Kristy Campbell as she shares insights on healing and transformation. What a gift to have you with us today. I love it. I'm shivering.
Thank you so much, Denise. My goodness, what an introduction. I'm sitting here like, ooh, thank you. That was lovely.
It's such a difference from, I can only imagine, you're talking about the analytical mind to the emotional components and the emotion code. Like, tell us, what is emotion code? What are you talking about?
What am I talking? Yeah, that is a great first question. Yes. So, so as you mentioned, I came upon this modality a couple years back. And during that time, I was in the midst of a career change as well as a deep healing journey of my own. I went back to school for nutrition, actually, in between becoming an energy healer. I went back to school at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition and studied holistic nutrition at that point. This was 6 years ago now. And that's when I left software. So I was really immersed in eating well for myself. I was working through some gut issues. I didn't realize at
Yeah.
the time, but it looks like I've been exposed possibly to Lyme. So in the past at some point. So I was, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that kind of came later. The testing sort of suggested that. But really, I
yeah.
was immersed in more of the food side of things for a really long time. Also had young children, so it was important to us to give them a really good start with nutrition. So that
Yeah.
was a big focus for a number of years. I was one of those Instagram food bloggers, things like that. And then I think it was really some of the summits I was attending and whatnot. This is going more like 3, 4 years ago, where some of the more the gut specific or the functional medicine started bringing on guests that were more in the energy healing space. And that really
Mhm.
intrigued me. It really intrigued me. And there was also one course within my holistic nutrition program. It was the Body, Mind, Spirit course, which had intrigued me even back a few years prior. And I found myself being drawn more to listening to speakers and to modalities in this area. And it was within one of these summits, I believe, where I first heard about emotion code. And it really resonated because it struck me as this really beautiful balance between sort of the more analytical side of things that the logical mind can process and the energy healing emotional side. And over the last few years in particular, my family has moved where my husband and I are both changing careers, our kids change schools, all these things have been
Mm.
changing. So I'm finding all these things come up in me as well emotionally. And so when I
Mhm.
heard Dr. Bradley speak, he's the founder of the Emotion Code. I believe it was on a podcast. It could have been a summit. I can't remember exactly, but often I say these days, I remember the
Yeah.
content, but I don't remember the context. But it just
That's
really
okay.
clicked. Yeah, it just really clicked. So the long and short of it was I was in a bookstore one day. I grabbed the book. I have it right here. So you can, if
Yeah.
someone wants to look it up. I grabbed it, I started reading it, and I was just immersed in it. And I started practicing the content and working on myself, other people. And it was about a year later, or about maybe 8 to 9 months later, where I decided to get certified. So maybe I'll leave it. Oh, you had asked what it is. I didn't even
Yeah.
get to that
That's
just
okay.
yet.
That's
I
okay. I love the journey. That's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect,
Keep
perfect.
going.
Okay, so I'll take a couple minutes and describe what it actually
Yeah.
is and how it works. So the emotion code is a form of energy healing that is really focused on the understanding. And I think few people would question this. There are, and we'll probably get into this a little bit. There is a lot of questions around energy healing in general. Is it legit? How does this actually work? Is it woo woo? Is there any science around it? But few people would question that humans go through a lot of times in life that are hard, and sometimes are we literally feel like we can't fully experience the emotion that's happening. We could be overwhelmed, we could be having a lot of fear, we could be feeling
Mm.
shameful about something, and our bodies just don't feel safe to sort of go through and experience that emotion. A lot of us live in our heads, right? We're very analytical, and so sometimes we'll rationalize it away, and it's actually a very smart mechanism of our body, because if we're not in a state to be able to fully process through it, we'll kind of squirrel it away somewhere, tuck it in, and hide it, and say we'll come back to that later. The thing is, though, life is stressful, right? There's a lot happening, and thanks to Denise and others that kind of promote us taking time for ourselves and really being
Yeah.
able to be. We need that, because otherwise, some of this emotional baggage and other things in our bodies, they build up, and we never have the
Mm.
time to process through it. And so the
Yeah.
emotion code, to answer that original question from a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
it's a very elegant system which can the practitioner, so myself in this case, can tap into the subconscious mind of another person, and it can either be a general clearing, so we could either say what emotions really want to be released at this point that'll best serve you, or we can focus in on specific intention that could be speaking very loudly to someone. For example, it could be lower back pain, as Denise mentioned, and we can say what emotions are ready to be cleared that can help alleviate some back pain. So we can set that sort of intention. And and because it's energy healing, it knows no time or space. So this process can be done over the
Mm.
phone. It can be done on video, like Denise and I are here today. And it simply involves going through a little chart. It's again very, very
Yeah.
elegant. There is a chart of 60 emotions. I'll just kind of show that really briefly. This is what I use
Okay.
on my phone. They're divided into two columns and 6 rows. So there's 60 total emotions. And Dr.
Hmm.
Brad sort of determined that these 60 emotions kind of cover off the main vibrations of so called negative emotions that our bodies can hold on to. And so the process is using muscle testing. And muscle testing can be used in different ways, but it's really just to get sort of yes and no answers. And it's something that someone can hone when they practice it. There's many different types. I use what's called this finger and ring method to get a yes is strong and a no is weak. And again, something you can practice, and it just becomes a trust walk, where it just really, once you really hone it, it really works well. So emotion code involves simply asking each time, is there a trapped emotion that's ready to release? If I get the yes, then I go through the emotion code chart, nail down that emotion. Sometimes the subconscious mind needs additional information, like perhaps at what age that emotion was trapped. In some cases, it actually goes into inherited. So that could be something where someone inherits an
Mm,
emotion. It can happen
mhm,
in utero. It can be a prenatal trapped emotion. And
mm,
sometimes it can originate in another person. It's not your emotion, but maybe if someone's very
mm.
empathic like that, they can take on that other person's emotion and trap it in their body. So sometimes, usually they're common trapped emotions where it just originated in someone in their lifetime. Um, but occasionally it is one of these other types. So then there's a line of questioning to nail down that emotion. And then it's simply a process of using a magnet. Magnets are
Mhm.
used in a lot of different societies, as a form of energy healing itself, but we use it at the end of determining an emotion and to kind of energetically help clear it away. So the whole thing looks quite fascinating. It almost looks like a bit of a magic show, but like you said, Denise, I constantly tell myself, I mean, energy healing is real, and we might get into this a little bit, as there's a lot of actual evidence coming out around it. And
Mhm.
again, the proof is in the pudding. So even if I'm kind of sitting here, my logical mind is still going, what's happening here? The results continue to speak, and that's what I continue to bank on. So
Love that. Question for you.
yes.
When you use that magnet, does that
Mhm.
also clear your energy or does it clear the client's energy? Or does it do both?
That's a fantastic question. So there's a few ways that emotion code can be conducted. If I'm with someone in person, then I will use the magnet directly on them, so it's more of a direct
Ah,
session. There's also a case where you can be in person with someone but use a surrogate. So if it's with a pet or it's with a young child, for example, I can do it on behalf of someone else as a surrogate. For me, because I've found that I can really easily tap into someone's subconscious, and it's so fast and easy to do my own muscle testing, I always do what's called a proxy connection. So I will ask you for permission, first of all, when we start our session. I'll make the connection to you, and I'm doing the clearing on myself, but I'm really just acting as a proxy for you. So it
gotcha.
clears from you. I always, as well, and this is kind of part of the sort of energetic hygiene, if you will, around doing this type of work, is I always make
Mhm.
sure that I kind of connect and then I disconnect at the end of a session. So
Right,
we're not sort of corded. There's different things around that. But
right.
ultimately, it is on your behalf. There is an occasional where I might feel a little bit of energy moving for myself too, because I'm, a bit of a channel kind of assisting with it.
Mhm,
But it doesn't
mhm.
stick around. It's, if anything, it's just a slight feeling and it kind of moves away then.
Right,
Does that make sense?
right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Just before, because I know we're going to try and do a session,
Okay.
but
Mhm.
before we do, you brought up animals. So I'm curious to know, do you ever work and do this work for pets through their masters or
Yes.
yeah?
Yes, actually
Oh, cool.
animals, because they're actually they respond really well to energy healing in general and to this
Yeah.
line of work. Now I had mainly the animals I've worked with were mainly during when I took the certification. We were required to
Yep.
work with a number of people and animals. Some of the results
Nice.
so I worked with a couple birds, and I believe a dog or two and a
Yeah.
horse. So that was interesting. I do have
Cool.
one story around super quick story where there was a
Yeah.
parrot. I worked with a parrot, and this parrot had been very bonded with the woman or the owner with her one daughter, and something had happened. I believe the family left, or something happened where it seemed like the bird got traumatized. Maybe there was something
Mm.
harsh, or she left. But basically, then the bonding wasn't happening as much, and the bird was seeming like she didn't want to be around the daughter. And this was really this was really hurtful to the daughter. She really enjoyed that bond. So we did a bit of a
Mm.
session for the bird. And then my friend reported that the next day or over the next couple of days, they had bonded again, quite like the old days. So that
Ah,
was
there you
really nice to
go.
see. And Dr. Brad
Proof
as
is in
well
the
has,
pudding.
yeah, exactly. And if anyone is interested in the animal stories, on the Discover Healing website, you can see that's the parent website of Emotion Code. There's many YouTubes, or if you even Google animal healing, there's many
Oh,
examples
nice.
of working with animals and getting results.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing. I didn't mean to
Of course.
take you on the side, but I was like, ooh, I probably have people in the audience who are animal lovers, and they're like, ooh, I wonder if, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You're going to do a session with me today, right?
All right.
I'm
That sounds
excited. I'm
fantastic. Yes,
excited.
I love it.
What do I need to do? I'm a note taker. Do I need to take notes, or I just need to be?
So in this case, so I always recommend, because one thing I also offer as part of my sessions is I always record the notes. So I can do that today for you as well, Denise. So I always recommend just sit back and relax. I'll record the emotions that are cleared and any supporting information. So you have that copy. I always do that
Okay.
for my clients. So you absolutely can simply relax. If you have a water there, just I recommend keeping hydrated during this. And then what I will do is, this is my normal process, is I clear 5 emotions
Yeah.
and then just pause, see if you have anything's come to you, see if you have any questions at that point, if there's anything you want to share, or if you just want to keep
Okay.
going. And then I go essentially until I get a no from your subconscious, as in your body's kind of felt like this is a good amount to process at this point.
Hold up. We're good.
Exactly. Having said that, I mean, if the timing of if your body's like, yeah, let's do this, and we're running near the time, I mean, we can always kind of pause it there too. So,
Okay. Okay.
okay,
No problem. All
all
right.
right, great. So
I'm going
you're
to
all
let you lead.
perfect. Okay, all right. So first of all, do I have permission to do an emotion code session on your behalf, Denise?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. So I'll get ready on my side. I do have a notepad open where I'll take my notes.
Mhm.
The first thing I always do is I set an intention with everybody I work with that the session be for your greatest good, Denise, and for the greatest good of all. I just like to pause on that for a moment. So I'm kind of setting the stage. And then a quick question for you before we get in is, would you like to do a general clearing, or is there a specific intention or focus area that you'd like to work with today?
Oh, such a great question. I've been back and forth, up and down, sideways on
Mhm.
this one. I'm going to go with lower back.
Lower back. Okay. Okay. And that is, I mean, the back area is such, I mean, it's metaphorically, it makes sense, right? We hold things in our backs and our shoulders. So that's where a lot of emotional content can kind of reside. So, all right. So we'll go with that. I'll be curious to hear afterwards if you've felt shifts of any sort, energetically,
Sure.
pain level, if anything's come to you more cognitively. So, okay, so we'll just set that intention. And just to confirm as well, is it a bit of a discomfort? What types of feelings are you experiencing there?
I would say some pain in the
Some pain,
lower
lower back. Okay,
right side
lower right
primarily.
side. Okay.
Mhm.
And so ideally, we'd like to have some relief in that area then via this process.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right, perfect. Okay, great. So we've set our intention, we have our beautiful field here. And then so the next step I'll do is I'll make this proxy connection. And everybody won't see this all the time, but I'll just show right now the initial step. So this is again my yes. You can see the ring won't break there. Yes, no. And so I'm going to make a proxy connection to you. So I'm testing on your behalf as opposed to myself. So we're testing for Denise today. Yeah. Testing for Kristy. There we go. And so I'll do the rest of it just down below here so it's not as distracting. But we'll start with that first question then. So, are there any trapped emotions that we can start clearing for Denise to help give relief from the lower back pain she's experiencing? So, there's a yes. So, we will get going. All right. Is this first trapped emotion? Is it a common trapped emotion? So, it originated with you. Is it in column 1 of the chart? Column 2, column 1. Is it in an odd row? Even row? Is it row 1, row 3? Okay. So, we've now narrowed it down. Is this first trapped emotion crying? Is it discouragement? Is it rejection, sadness, or okay, we found rejection. And so now I'll simply ask, do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? That's a yes. I did forget to ask initially, it can be useful to have an age to ask questions. So can I ask your age for this?
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm 60.
60. Perfect. Okay. So your subconscious is wanting more information. So we'll start with age. Okay. So did this rejection get trapped above age 30, between 20 and 30, 20, 25, 25 and 30, 25, 26? Do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? No. So we found our first one, rejection at age 26. And I'll go ahead and clear it for you. 1, 2, 3. And did we clear this rejection? I always check afterwards. Yes, we did. All right, one down. So the first one takes a moment as I'm explaining a little bit what I'm doing, but then we'll really be flying from this point. And I'll just, again, jot down what I'm finding in my notepad. Okay. Are there any other trapped emotions we can clear for Denise today to help with lower back pain? Yes. Common trapped emotion? Yes. Column 1, odd row, row 1, row 3. And is this trapped emotion crying, discouragement? We found crying. Crying can either mean a crying spell that feels really hard in the body, or perhaps a time where your body wanted to cry and maybe it didn't feel appropriate to. So, we'll hold back tears at times. So we found this crying. Do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? That's a yes as well. Did this get trapped above age 30, between 20 and 30, 20 and 25, 20, 21, 22, crying? And do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? That's a no as well. 1, 2, 3. And did we clear this crying? Yes. Okay, 2 down. So you can see it goes really quickly once we're into it. My sessions are a half hour long. There's often some questions ahead of time and some follow-ups, but the session itself usually 10 to 15 minutes, even less at times. So we'll just keep rolling. Any other trapped emotions we can clear here for Denise today? Under the intention we set, yes. Is this a common trapped emotion? Yes. Is this in column 1, column 2, column 1? Is it an odd row, even row, row 2, row 4, row 6? And is this trapped emotion humiliation? Is it jealousy? Is it longing? Is it lust? It's overwhelm, a common one. I'm sure that many of you that you have on the show speak about or experience at times. Overwhelmed. So do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? That's a no, so we can clear it without more information. 1, 2, 3. And do we clear this overwhelm? Yeah. Okay, 3 done. Okay. Just to check as well, maybe instead of toggling back and forth, you can still see me at this point?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Perfect.
totally.
Okay, I will just stay on my notepad so I don't need to toggle and I can
Yeah,
stay
no worries.
Okay. Are there any other trapped emotions we can clear this morning for Denise? Yes. Common trapped emotion? Yes. Column 1, column 2, odd row, row 1, row 3. And is this trapped emotion confusion? Is it defensiveness, grief? We found defensiveness. Do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? That's a yes. Did this one get trapped above age 30, above age 40, above age 50, 40, 45, 45, and 50, 45, 46? Do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? No. Usually the age is sufficient. When we do need to know more information, we'll see if anything comes out where we need to know more. But so we found defensiveness, age 46. 1, 2, 3. And do we clear this defensiveness? Yes. Okay, we'll do one more and then we'll take a quick pause. So are there any other trapped emotions we can clear for Denise this morning? Yes. Common trapped emotion? No. So this is a no. So I'm going to ask about the other types I mentioned. Is this an inherited trapped emotion? Yes. I love when these come up. They're very fascinating. So we first get the emotion and we see where in the lineage that this originated. So
Sure.
So is this from column 1, column 2, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4? And is this trapped emotion depression? Is it frustration? Is it indecisiveness? Is it panic? Taken for granted, and this is inherited. So now I'll check in. Is this from mom's side, dad's side? Did dad inherit it from his mother? His mother inherited it. Okay, so what I got here is taken for granted, inherited from father's mother, so your grandmother on that side. Do we need to know anything else about this one? No. So then what we do is Dr. Brad suggests 10 strokes for inherited. I think it's just to kind of give a little bit more of a energetic boost, I suppose, because what we're doing with an inherited trapped emotion is we're clearing it both from the ancestral lines going upward as well as down the chain. So Denise, if any of your children, for example, have inherited this as well, then this is one case in energy healing where we can kind of clear from them as well, which is quite fascinating. So we'll clear that one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And did we clear this taken for granted? Yes. Okay, so that's 5. Now I know we're kind of looking at the time, but I just wanted to pause for a quick second like I do, see if you wanted to share anything or if you have any questions.
I, I'm sitting here as you're saying this stuff. I'm like, 26. What happened? What was going on when I was 26? And then I'm like, oh no, Denise, just be in the present. Forget about it. It'll deal with it, right? And
It
then my
will,
mind went
yeah.
to, and then my mind went to, she's clearing it for you. So you don't have to do any of the work. You do the heavy lifting. This is cool. This is working.
Right. And a lot of people love that too. I mean, it's very common for people to be kind of thinking about it during the session. And if you want to go ahead, it could be very fascinating. It's also a reason why I share the results afterwards. So if you wanted to kind of look at the
Right.
ages and give that a think. But it also goes to show how we are very analytical. Humans are very analytical, right? And one of our first instincts is to sort of think about the experience. But I've had a number of people
Yeah.
say to me they love it as it almost feels like an energetic spa treatment. So if they are able to
Yeah.
sort of sit back and just relax during it, it almost feels like they've had a bit of a spa. So, but yeah, absolutely do whatever comes to you during the session.
Yeah.
So, okay. Are we okay to do a
Awesome.
few more minutes?
Yeah,
Denise?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
You feel
Okay.
free. Yep.
Okay.
No
So
problem.
we'll go back in here. I'll just kind of make sure I'm still connecting. So still testing for Denise, testing for Kristy, and we're working on trapped emotions to help bring lower back relief. Yes. Okay. We'll go back in. Are there any other trapped emotions we can clear for Denise this morning? Yes. Common trapped emotion? Yes. Is this in column 1, column 2, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4? And is this trapped emotion depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, taken for granted? We found another taken for granted. Just a little bit of an aside here. Sometimes the same emotional signature will come out a few times as we're kind of getting onto a theme, perhaps. And if I can clarify for everyone as well, the previous taken for granted was cleared out. This is just sort of another instance of that signature stored elsewhere in your body. So it's not like we're still working at the previous one, if that makes sense.
Right.
So we found it taken for granted. This one originated in your life, though. Do we need to know anything else about this one? Nope. So we can just clear that out. 1, 2, 3. And we clear this taken for granted. Yeah. Okay. And we'll keep moving along here. Are there any other trapped emotions we can clear this morning for Denise? Yeah. Common trapped emotion? Yes. Column 1, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4. And is this trapped emotion anger, bitterness, guilt? We found guilt. And do we need to know anything else about this one? That's a yes. Did this get trapped above age 30, between 20 and 30, 10 and 20, 10 and 15, 15 and 20, 15, 16? Guilt. Do we need to know anything else about this one? Nope. Clear that. 1, 2, 3. And did we clear this guilt? Yes. We're kind of hopping around your life here a little bit, which is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. So you have a little bit to think on later if you feel inclined. Okay, so are there any more trapped emotions being clear for Denise this morning? Yes. Common trapped emotion? Yes. Column 1, odd row, row 1, row 3. And is this trapped emotion crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness, sorrow? We found sadness. And do we need to know anything else about this one? Nope. I'll clear that. 1, 2, 3. We clear the sadness, yes. Okay. Are there any other trapped emotions we can clear this morning for Denise? Yes. Common trapped emotion? Yes. Column 1, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4, row 6. And is this trapped emotion humiliation? Is it jealousy? Is it longing? Longing. We found longing. And do we need to know anything else about this one? That's a yes. Did this get trapped above age 30, between 20 and 30, 10 and 20, 10 and 15, 15 and 20, 15, 16, 17, 18? And do we need to know anything else about this trapped emotion? No. 1, 2, 3. And do we clear this longing? Yes. So I will try for one more. We'll try for 10 and I'll just pause again there. Okay. Any other trapped emotions we can clear this morning for Denise? Yes. And it's interesting. Usually it's between 7, 8, and about 15 that someone's body does during a session. So it's always a bit of a surprise when it goes, but we can do 10 here. All right, so there is something else. Is this one a common trapped emotion? Column 1, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4. And is this trapped emotion anger, bitterness, guilt, resentment? And do we need to know anything else about this one? No, so we can just clear that resentment. 1, 2, 3. And did we clear that one out? Yeah. Okay. Big breath there. So we're at 10. I can see, is there anything else we can clear this morning? So there are still more. Again,
Go
I want to
ahead.
pause.
Keep
Go
going.
ahead. Go for it. We're just going for it. Okay. Sounds good. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. So there are more trapped emotions we can clear for Denise. Yes. Is this next one a common trapped emotion? Is it column 1, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4? And is this trapped emotion anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred? Okay, another resentment. And do we need to know anything else about this one? Nope. We'll clear that right out. 1, 2, 3. Let me clear this resentment. Yeah. Okay. Number 12. Are there any other trapped emotions we can clear for Denise this morning? Oh, so there's our no. I'll just kind of show again. So I've been getting the yes, which is the strong, and this one popped right open, which is the indicator that your subconscious is saying, you know, we're going to do a little bit of processing now. We're good for today. So like I mentioned earlier, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect. So testing for Denise, back to Kristy, just to make sure we're in our own energetic field.
Yep.
And there we go. There's a session for you.
Perfect.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Good. I mean, I don't feel my back. I mean, it's there, but it's not as intense as it was when we started, if
Oh, interesting.
that's possible. I found it fascinating how quickly it moved when you asked the questions. I found that really interesting. And I found the age variance interesting too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
mean, yeah, for
when
sure.
I was just going to say, when you'd say something, you'd give the list of which it was, and I would, oh, I think it's this. And sometimes I was right, and sometimes I wasn't right. So it's kind of cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. So when you mentioned that you were impressed how quickly it shifted, did you mean how quickly the process went, or were you referring to were you feeling things shift in your body, or both, or
I would say the process. The
the
process.
process?
I
Yeah.
was trying to tune into my back at the same time, but I was listening more to your words because I am very similar to you in terms of the mind takes over, because that's what I tend to focus on generally, just with
Hmm.
my history as a administrator, in the
Yeah,
education world. That's what we do, right? So
for sure.
that's what I've been tuned in to do for so many years. So I'm moving, but this has been fascinating, really interesting. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you explain or help people who are somewhat skeptical? Is there anything that you could share
Mhm.
for anybody who's out there going, all right, Denise, really? Seriously?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the first and foremost, again, back to that, the proof is in the pudding. So, I welcome questions around it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, do a little bit of research and see what the testimonials that people are saying is one possibility. There
Yeah.
is energy healing in general. There is actually quite the body of evidence that's growing. And if you'd like, Denise,
Yes.
there's a couple things I could offer. There's actually a link to a growing list of energy healing, like studies and research and whatnot. So, if someone would like to look at the papers, there's plenty, and it's very much continuing to grow. For someone that likes reading or listening to audiobooks, Lynn McTaggart has done some really good work in the space of um, really illustrating different studies that have been done. So she's a
Mhm.
great writer, first of all, and her book, The
Mm.
Intention Experiment, she talks about how, when groups of people set intention, and it could be far, far away, it can show change. And
Mm.
things that she's shown have been really repeatable. Like, for example, this one is a bit of a more well-known one, where there was a group of people in one geographical location, and further away there was, I believe it was a greenhouse. There was a situation where there were a number of different plants, and the group was instructed to send positive healing energy to just one of these specific plants. and that plant grew better. And it wasn't a one-off. They repeated this experiment a number of times. And
Mm,
so again, our logical minds are like, how is that possible? But the evidence is growing. There's scientists more in the quantum physics side of things that are trying
right.
to make sense of this. So in the meantime,
Hmm.
if there's a modality that helps, especially one this simple, then I'm just really excited to have discovered it and be able to help people.
Absolutely. And I I would take it one step further and say that it was meant to be,
Mm.
that historical piece that people talk about. My grandfather would say, sometimes you don't understand when you're in the middle of the storm, but the storm
Yeah.
is there for a reason. And you
Mm.
will figure it out after the storm passes. You will see why it came, when it came, and how it came. You don't have to understand it now, but I believe you were placed on the earth for this reason specifically, and you had to go through all the stuff you've gone through and continue to get to go through, because that's what life's about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Wise
Right?
words.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what a beautiful gift you've given me. I'm privileged, really privileged to have had this opportunity to experience your gifts and talents. And I'm so glad you've tapped into these modalities for yourself to bring the audience and all those with whom you touch every day with your gifts and talents, and
Mm.
helping them live a life of freedom, pain free, energetically free, all the great stuff. So thank you so much for being here, Kristy. It's a privilege and an honor to be with you. And if you have watched the replay and you want to make sure you touch base with Kristy, we've added her Facebook group where you can find her at Kristy Marie Wellness, right? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes. It's
Okay.
facebook.com/Kristy Marie Wellness at the end. Yes.
And we do have it in the show notes. So just grab it from the show notes and you can go in and probably say, help, Kristy, I have a knee problem. I have an ear problem, vertigo, whatever it is, and see what her gifts and talents can bring you. And I have to say, it was pain-free on my end. And it was an interesting experience just to listen to and then put my mind into, this was my experience anyway, and I'm sure everybody has a different experience. So I can't wait to see the notes and see what I get to uncover as I plod through. What did that mean exactly?
Mhm.
And
Excellent.
I will try really hard not to use my analytical mind, because I think that will stop me from the growth that's possible through this experience. So thanks again, Kristy. It's been
Oh,
wonderful, just
thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you as well, Denise. And yeah, this is one thing I always encourage people after sessions. So a little bit of more notes for you. And it's
Sure.
exactly what you tell other people on your show, right? Take the time for yourself. If you
Yeah.
feel called to rest and you're able to, go for it. Stay hydrated and just stay open and curious over the coming days.
Yeah.
And, in terms of what might come to you cognitively or any shifts you might feel in your body. But thank you again. This has been really fun. And again, it's been an honor to meet with you this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day. And if you are not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do, because you don't want to miss these incredible conversations and teachings. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.